Cafe. I'm your host, Chris Mahan. Each weekday, I give you some tips and strategies you can use to become more successful, both in your personal life and in your business life. So when you get an opportunity, perhaps a short break at work, enjoy one of these 5-minute videos. If you've got a cup of coffee or some other favorite beverage, that's all the better. Let's jump into today's video. Well, yesterday I promised you a story about sweet revenge. Did you figure out what we're going to be talking about? Well, who knew a candy bar could lead to a success story? Yeah. Here's somebody who was told that they were nothing but a failure, but they had sweet revenge. Hershey chocolate has become a staple in countless people's diet. Whether you're a person who loves the straight up Hershey bar, or you're more of a Kit Kat person, or perhaps a Reese's peanut butter cup sort of person, there's something on today's market for just about every chocolate lover. In fact, many of us can't imagine life without chocolate. Although only 150 years ago, only the rich could enjoy that delicious treat. You know, chocolate's been around for centuries, but candy was something that was made by hand. It took a lot of time and effort to create, and so that made it too expensive for most people to afford. But thankfully, some people saw that it didn't have to be that way. Meet Milton Hershey. Hershey was the sort of guy who loved desserts. He also had a knack for sniffing out business opportunities. Unfortunately, most of his ideas didn't work out very well. In fact, if it hadn't been for relatives loaning him money, along with a good bit of luck coming his way, his caramel business would have died out in the 1880s, and we wouldn't know his name today. But finally enjoying modest success, Hershey continued to keep an eye out for opportunities, and he found a massive one in 1893. Hershey noticed that few were paying attention to a contraption at the World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago. There was a German chocolatier there who had a machine which could produce chocolate much more simply than current methods, with a lot less work. And although his field wasn't chocolate, but caramel, Hershey knew a good idea when he saw one. So he purchased the machine and adapted it to his own work, thinking that chocolate-covered caramels might be a good idea. Of course, if you've been to a candy store lately, you know that they still are. Well, for Hershey, though, that didn't work out exactly as he planned. What did, though, was his making of chocolate bars. And those bars took the world by storm, so much so that in 1937, Hershey was approached by the U.S. Army to come up with a bar that wouldn't melt easily, but could add nutrition to supplement soldiers' diets overseas. So as a result, during World War II, Hershey was making 24 million chocolate bars a week for the military. After the war, Hershey's success was secured. And so he branched out into other kinds of chocolate bars, continually trying new things and expanding production until Hershey's became the successful company that we know it to be today. Now, Hershey might have failed initially, but he had a lot of drive and a lot of determination. When something didn't work, he left it behind, and he pursued instead what did work. When he was approached to try something new, he immediately rose to the challenge. He asked, "How can I do this?" instead of focusing on, "I've never done this before." To succeed in today's world, you need the persistence of people like Milton Hershey. You should never turn your back on a lucky break. Most of all, you shouldn't forget to embrace the sweet things in life. You'll be amazed where they might take you. Next week, I'm going to continue to share some stories of famous failures. I hope that this week's stories have given you hope and motivation that any failures you may have had or are currently experiencing might be the very things that are about ready to create a breakthrough in your life. Failure is often a necessary part of success, but only if you don't allow failure to be your master. This has been Chris Mahan here on Success Café. I hope to see you on Monday.